Hello, welcome back to Dominions 5 and my series Basil is Not Ideal, Part 3, in which we're going to cover a variety of things, primary of which is claiming thrones, and secondarily of which is a war that I observed between Helheim and Agartha. Two of my neighbors. Well, Helheim is my neighbor, Agartha not so much. And then lastly, what happens is just a series of unfortunate events, because I did get a turmoil, but also luck scale. And then all these kinds of things start happening. Basically, an unreasonable amount of times my coastal provinces wind up getting attacked by ichthycentaurs or sea dogs and stuff like that, and in this case I actually had enough PD to drive them off. And again, what's his face? Lanka is retreating, leaving me my territories, so very kind of him. But yeah, this happens an unreasonable amount of times, I think. First one is here. And second one is actually going to be here in a couple of turns, so we'll take a look at that one. And I do lose that one because not as much PD there, though I am surprised that the monkeys managed to drive them off here. So yeah, this is the current state of affairs after the end of the first war with Hinnom. I just decide to withdraw my forces and continue my expansion. My main targets are going to be this throne and then this throne, but also I have to clear off this. I have to get this back, and then there are an unfortunately pretty strong PD between me and Hinnom, so I wind up not really going for it and being like, yeah, I feel sorry for you, Hinnom, you can have them, and these are probably just crappy provinces anyways, especially the wasteland. And I can imagine that if I take a province in his cap circle, even if it is a wasteland, he might be a little miffed about that, and we might go into war again. But really, I'm sort of pinched in here. I don't have a lot of other directions to expand other than into Hinnom or whatever direction this might be. Hinnom does not seem to have expanded too far. I think that in the previous video I did see Pangaea down here, but Pangaea has taken basically this, and so Hinnom is equally as confined as I am, so it might have been a good idea to restart that war with Hinnom pretty soon thereafter. But yeah, another option would be for me to get into the water. These provinces are probably not as accessible because Lanka can get underwater with skeletons. I suppose Hinnom could as well into this pond, but I'm still going to try it. This province had recruitable ichthyds, so I'll try for this pond, but if Lanka takes it first, which he does, I wind up going for this pond instead, and Baratos winds up taking that one. In addition to that, I actually get right into a trading relationship with Lanka pretty early on. I'm like, hey, you seem like a reasonable fellow. I want nature and astral, because my research is eventually going to be going for Alteration 5. Conjuration 5, that's going to get me Gandharvas, which is my favorite early age Kailasa unit. Well, second favorite. Siddhas are my favorite, but yeah. Oh, and I forgot one other thing that I actually wound up doing this game, this series of turns in this episode. We'll get to it in a second. Turn 19, I'm going to skip any turns I don't particularly find relevant. I take the first throne that I showed you and immediately bump with Xibalba. Not Xibalba. What are they called? Oh yeah, it is Xibalba. Okay, good. So I had a pretty decent army of sacreds. He has a lot of bats, but not a lot of sacreds yet. Or I should rephrase that. He doesn't have a lot of these beast bats, and he doesn't have the flying jaguars yet. He does have some of his sacreds somewhere, I think. Maybe not. Oh well. In any event, I wind up winning. But these guys were not successful in attacking rear, which was very sad because they would have been able to knock those guys out really, really easily, and I would have been very happy if that had happened. So against the throne, I lose 15 of my Yavanas because berserking and extra protection, +5 protection, natural protection is not as good as regeneration and fortitude. At least not in my opinion. And then I lose only a handful of guys compared to his Zabalban bats, but then again, they are really chaffy, so it's not a whole lot of surprise that that is going to happen that way. And so this is where Zabalba is. I don't really have a whole lot of communication with him, and I don't officially sign a non-aggression pact, but I'm like, hey, sorry we bumped, but I took it fair and square, so leave me alone. And I think he sort of just either responds to that as like, okay, whatever, or doesn't really respond to that, but we just sort of pretend like the other doesn't exist anymore for a little while. I am eyeballing this army right here of Baratos because I don't know what his intentions are, and I take forever in sending him a message just because I'm like, well, I gotta fight somebody at some point eventually, so maybe I should stop signing non-aggression pacts left to right and center. And again, there's the Sea Dogs that took this province, so I'll be taking that back. But other than that, I immediately decide to build a palisade and claim a throne on this because this is a very important province and massive income. Very, very nice. So this, and this are actually, well, this one less so, are actually a very nice buffer border for me to rack in the dough. And that is all for that turn. Somebody else claimed a throne as well. Not doing so hot on the magic sites, except for here. Got some nature and earth and air. That's actually really good. 4 gems in that province. And what else? Research. Yeah, I'm going to get back to alteration. I think I just wind up cutting this and going straight for alteration. We're going to take a little bit of a break here from turn 19 to turn 26 because honestly, with me not a whole lot of places to expand to and not willing to get into another war, I sort of just let me build up some strength and let other people fight it out. And that's exactly what happens. Turn 26, a number of things happen. First of all, I get Mother Oak. So Mother Oak goes up, turn 26, and I am very happy for that. It's going to boost my nature gem income up quite substantially for as long as I can have it. There is a Pangea in the game, so I have competition for it in this case. And then, in addition to that, I start seeing with my scouts that these guys are not particularly friendly with each other. Also, I take this throne. So let's take a look at that battle. I got a lot more guys now, and I've been dropping Gandharvas with Legions of Steel. And with Berserking, that protection gets up really, really high. They already have natural protection 6. They just get beefy as all heck. Now, that was very sad to see flaming arrows go down on a Jaguar Warriors, Jaguar Tribe. But I don't think I got Wooden Warriors off, or I don't have it at this point. So it's not as painful as it could be, but still, that hurts a lot, especially with no regeneration. Falling Fires. Yeah, this is very sad. But yeah, once you're getting up to Berserking, their protection is through the roof. Unfortunately, it's not really helpful against fire. So there's that. But I can still chew through them like tissue paper. And despite my massive losses, hurting, I do take that province relatively easily. And I get this. One of my favorite kind of semi-random story events is where you can have a water mage summon water elementals just from an event for a couple turns. And I don't know, it's not like super useful because then eventually in a big battle the water elementals will just die off. But it can get me into the water. I just need to stick a ring of water breathing on her or any mage and then send the water elementals in and they'll be able to clean up these guys pretty easily. Amber Clan, not so much. That's kind of why I was waiting for so long, because I wind up building these guys up as often as I can. Now I've got a little bit of a spare income that I lost a massive army here, but also have a pretty decent income with this fort, and I don't put a fort over here, but yeah. What else? Oh yeah, in addition to that, this was the crystal throne. So I've got crystal mages, which sort of just works with my nation already, but doesn't give me anything new because I took crystal on my pretender already. And this throne is the throne of fortune, so more astral pearls and luck. My dominion gets luck, so now I'm at luck 2. Luck 3 for this province, which makes me pretty happy. Maybe I will stop getting sea dogs to attack me. But also with searching, I get sages. And sages with the scales that I took and with this nation are just ridiculous. My research is going to go through the roof with these guys. Getting one sage a turn. I'm like, I don't even want you anymore. I'm just getting sages here. That is it. And I'm going to spam that like crazy. Unfortunately, in my Daily Dose of Dominions game, I got the crystal Amazons, and they have air astral crosspath and then could forge, site search for air and then forge owl quills. One downsides of Kailasa is they don't really have access to any of the paths of magic that can forge research boosters. No air until you get high enough to summon the Siddhas, or who else? These guys. Kinaras, which I never summon because they're just worse Siddhas. But they do have air too, so you could get them earlier if you wanted. And they have no death until you get, like, what is it? Rudras, which have death and fire. So no fire, no death until you get that. And so, yeah, unless you take it on your pretender, you're going to have no magic boosters. So this is what you get. But that's okay. I still make do, especially with sages. I leave this guy here, but he never really builds a fort here until way later, just to make him think that I'm building a fort or whatever. I'm just like, I don't care. You just chillax over there. As for Agartha and Helheim, this isn't a major battle, but we do see a large army of Helheims here. And his bless, anytime now? Yep, there it is. His bless is reinvigoration, HP, strength, and blood surge. He might be dormant or imprisoned, because probably imprisoned at this point because it's turn 20 something, yeah, 26, because these are all non-incarnate blesses, so there might be more to come, but even so, this is pretty decent and pretty frustrating to have to deal with, to be sure. Let's see how he fares against a real army of Agarthas. That was turn 26, turn 27. Here we go. Big battle here. Helheim's army, Agartha's army. Now, these guys are terrifying, especially this many of them. Unfortunately, what I think happened with this battle for Agartha is he didn't really bring anybody to kill things. These guys paralyze and do 1 psychic damage every time they hit successfully. They do have an amazing bless, invulnerability and regeneration with reinvigoration as well. That is ridiculous. And these guys don't have magic weapons, so not really going to be getting through that invulnerability. So against mundane attacks, damage resist, they all have protection 10 and regeneration. So that is amazing. But they do 1 damage, just 1. So they're going to do a lot of crazy things like paralyzing, but paralyzed, it's a short paralyze, so it's only like 4 turns or so. And again, they get straight to the back lines. There just aren't really enough of them. A couple of imps show up and be annoying. Just the number of attacks that these guys are going to dish out, high damage attacks too, they are going to cut through them eventually. And you need something to back up paralyze. You need something to cut them up with. These guys will do it, but he doesn't have enough of them. So this was, I think, in my opinion, the reason why this battle was lost. But it was a very impressive battle and a very like, I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to fight either of these guys. This is ridiculous. Especially with me getting sort of cut off from expanding and having a sort of mediocre war with Hinam. I don't feel like I'm doing super strong in this game. So I'm like, against both of them, this is horrifying to have to deal with. Helheim wins pretty heavily. He only loses about half of his Hell Hurtings, half of his Huskarls, but destroys Agartha's army. As well as killing off this guy, Big Mage, and getting on top of his fort, well, freeing up his fort. He also borders Lenka here, so Lenka is also pretty big. From here to here, at least. Mictlan is up here, Jotunheim is up here, Pangea is down here, Baratos and Fomoria is somewhere over here somewhere, I don't remember exactly. So yeah, that was the big thing of this turn. Building everything that I can as well here. And again, I'm sort of worried about this stack of guys. There's now 100 of them there. And I'm like, so what's the deal with you here? I still don't think I actually talked to him, but getting some elementals. Happy about that. Let's see what else. I don't think there's a whole lot going on here. Fall bears, more elephants because I haven't learned my lesson, and a crap ton of Gandharvas because I have a lot of astral saved up for just such an occasion. Should be on to turn 29 now, in which I basically immediately lose Mother Oak to Pangea. 3 turns I had it, did not exactly pay for itself, so that was a mistake, and I do not repeat it. So against competition for Mother Oak, I will probably not do that as much, but it still might be something I'll pursue in other Kailasa games, and maybe Bandarlog as well, I don't know. But it does depend on who you're going up against. Another battle between Agartha and Helheim. Helheim is pretty decisively winning at this point. And in this case, Bogus shows up as well, and his pals. And Hinam is not doing so hot, so I feel even worse for him. I'm like, you can't even cut a break here. You had me attack you, then you have Bogus. I just feel bad. I don't want to attack you anymore. That's what you get for having a conscience. You like this was just such a tempting target that I could have taken pretty easily early on with what I've got. No worries from Helheim. I'm actually trading actively with Lanka. The only person I would have had to worry about was Xibalba, and eventually Baratos and I come to an agreement about not attacking each other. But I think I could have probably taken Hinnom at this point if I had taken advantage of it. I did not, so that is sad. I don't think that there is much else going on. Not for me, at least. Lanka's fighting somebody, obviously. I'm thinking it was Mictlan at this point. He doesn't fight Xibalba. Xibalba's all down here. And he's not fighting Helheim, or I don't think Agartha. Not sure who took this throne. But, yeah, so that would be my guess. And then Hinnom's not fighting anyone. Pangea, I really have no idea what he did all game. Baratos is sort of cold warring it up with me. And then I think also Femoria he was sort of eyeballing. But never really got into a war, I don't think. And then Tianchi is sort of just being opportunistic as well. Niflheim is having a rough time of it with Tianchi, but I didn't really see a whole lot of that directly. I just see, there's Niflheim, and his cap circle is not any of his provinces. So that seems pretty bad. But I didn't actually take time to register that fact because he's literally across the world from me. So I'm like, somebody else's problem. Sorry, mate. Building up my underwater force here. Still waiting to get enough of them. I want to have a full stack of guys before I move out with him. And then I probably won't even attack this because, Amber Clan, come on. No, just no. I think I literally will walk across my territory in order to get into this ocean. Baratos had some luck getting into this water, so that is sad for me. Alright, moving on. Last turn of this particular episode, it's going to be turn 30, in which we will transition into the next phase of what will be this game, which is War with Xibalba. Xibalba attacks me again for the throne. Pretty more substantial force this time, ocelotls and beast bats. And his bless, I don't think I actually showed last time. His bless is decay weapons, attack skill, strength, blood surge, and reinvigoration. So with flying attack rear, that is going to be pain against really anything I can put up, and especially since I'm not particularly happy with the bless that I took. Against my sacreds, I don't think it will be... I don't think my bless will be super effective to stop him. So, yeah, they all die. And he is on my throne now, and it is immediately breached. Immediately. And the reason why is because I have, researchers here. That's all I have. Sages and, gurus and a couple of other people. So I'm doing emergency ogres and Gandharvas. In addition to that, I'm going to spam elementals, paralyze, not mind burn, because paralyze will be able to take them out of the game for a little bit. And why am I putting paralyze on Astral 1? Because I am bringing in my big guy. I have teleport now, and I'm going to be stocking him with items. He's going to cast Light of the Northern Star, Howl, and then Earth Elementals. And we're going to see if this works. My setup is going to actually have all of my mages up front and my monolith in the back. Because you know what? Attack rear. Go for it. See what happens. And we will see what happens next episode. In addition to that, I am panic moving all of my guys over here. Baratos is still threatening to me, but I think I tell him, hey, at this point, can we not fight because I'm sort of busy somewhere else? I don't know if I actually phrase it in those terms, but essentially I need to have all of my borders secure in order to get this war with Xibalba going, and I will get it going. At first I'm thinking maybe if I just drive him off, that's sufficient for me, but at the same time I'm like, if I don't expand, I will be steamrolled by somebody eventually, so I need to expand, and so I will go into his lands and I will invade. And Tanom actually messages me later on and says, hey, can I get in on that as long as you don't attack me? And I'm like, I guess, can't hurt to have Xibalba having to fight someone else in addition to me. But I really should have attacked Tanom. Don't tell him I said that. Alright, that's enough for tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed. See you guys in the next episode in which we fight Xibalba. Have a good one.